Piers Morgan, 56, has spoken up about a moment in which he was scolded by Paul McCartney following a phone call. The broadcaster discussed the incident on the Brett Lee podcast recently. He spoke about a moment in which he had a scary phone call with Paul McCartney after meeting him for a few drinks earlier in his career. He said, "On Tuesday 18 Jan, I was walking to the pub in Canary Wharf. We had a story on page 7, in The Sun, about Paul McCartney. He had a new girlfriend at the time called Heather Mills. It was the first relationship since his wife, Linda, had died. He actually met her at the Daily Mirror Pride of Britain Awards. Paul sat next to me at that Daily Mirror Pride of Britain Awards lunch. There's a video of him looking at me and tapping me saying, 'Who's that?' pointing at Heather." He then explained that the two later had a huge argument in a restaurant and it made tabloid news. "I didn't really give it any thought, but then as I was walking to the pub my phone went." It was Paul McCartney. He said that Paul didn't deny that the story was completely true but asked Piers if he could do him a favor and remove the story. The former Beatle said that he feared if every time they had an argument and it was published in the paper the relationship would not last. Piers then said he asked himself whether he was going to be human to a man who had just lost his wife, or are you gonna be tough, hard news editor? The former Good Morning Britain presenter then explained that he pulled the story, despite divisive views among editors. Piers was also talking to Brett about Brian Lara and historical cricket matches. Following this, Brett Lee moved on to asking Piers about his life as a celebrity. The former cricketer and presenter asked Piers whether he ever pinches himself after realizing how close he has been able to get with certain celebrities. He asked the journalist about all of the stars he's been surrounded by and if he thinks he's lucky. Piers replied affirmatively, saying that he actually deems himself to be quite lucky in spite of his on-screen persona. He said, chuckling, "Yeah, regularly. I feel very lucky actually. I like to be quite cocky on Twitter, as you've probably gathered." Brett then interjected, admitting Piers always wins people up, which the GMB star said was not always a good idea. You can listen to the full podcast here.